Okay, so I haven't been able to do this for a week and something more for stupid reasons, but yesterday's watch review today. The Seiko 6138 7000 slide rule. This is a cool watch. They're very collectible. People really hunt for these. What's interesting is that a fair amount, they were getting really rare, and then a fair amount of them actually came out of the woodwork in the past few months, 4, 5, 6 months. A number of them have shown up in different places, but they're pretty hard to find in really sort of A+ condition. What they are is they're an automatic chronograph, double register chronograph with a 12-hour and 30-minute register and day-date complications with dual language day wheel. This one is English and Spanish. The real coolness about this one, of course, is that it has this incredibly complex slide rule. Now, the original manuals that these came with for the math that you could do with these was pretty incredible. It was quite thick. These things, you can do all kinds of crazy math with them. And they were designed to be actual sort of backup flight instruments. I know a man who's a veteran of the Navy. He's a Navy pilot, retired. And he owns 3 of these, and he bought all 3 of them on board his aircraft carrier. Guys bought these things, and I don't know if they actually were trying to calculate how many gallons of fuel they had left while they were flying, but if they had good enough eyesight and the time to do it, they could do it. The basic watch is a modification of what most people call the Yachtman or the UFO. It's the same external case dimensions, 45 millimeter case, the same height. They use the same exact movement. It's just the profile of the case is slightly different. Basically, the external lines are the same, but the profile is slightly different, and the internals are slightly different in terms of how the case is built, but the movement is the same. The real big difference, of course, is that you have the dial on this one is tighter. That's a 20 millimeter crystal. I'm sorry, my brain. It's a 30 millimeter crystal versus this one being a 34. So obviously this one doesn't have any extra complications, it's just the tacky scale right there, but they fit it in there by making everything just a little bit tighter. I think this, by the way, has the little aftermarket cursor on it there too, which is pretty neat. My old partner Jonathan Koch had those reverse engineered. I've been considering having them remade again in the correct blue tint that Seiko made these in, but I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing, because then people would start selling them maybe as originals, and that would be no good. Anyway, I think it's a very clean and very purposeful design. The variant they came with two main variants, mostly denoted by sort of the hand color. Actually, you saw them with sort of an orangish red for the chronograph hands, and then you saw this yellow. I'm not sure if the yellow and the red were early and late or concurrent, or if they were denoted which part of the world these models went to. I don't know. But it's one of the two things that you see. This obviously is the yellow. I kind of prefer the sort of tomato red that they came with. I think that's a little bit neater. It's a nice, they're a nice watch. This is smooth turning bezel. There's no clicks or indexing or anything else like that, so you can smooth anything. My eyes are not good enough to be able to actually use this slide rule. Plus, I was never trained in slide rule. And it's a complicated thing to learn how to use. My dad went to school at UVM in the 50s for hard sciences, and they had an entire first-year introductory course just in using the slide rule. It's a complicated thing, but once you have the knowing of it, it's a very powerful tool. So it's a pretty neat piece, pretty neat little item. I don't think that anybody actually uses a slide rule anymore, but it's a nice conversation piece, and they have great presence on the wrist. The big black face bezel sort of has this big sort of purposeful look to it. And these slide rule calculators, they were sort of a thing in the 70s. There were a few different watch companies that made them. But it's very neat, and there's a beautiful subtle curve to the top of the face of these inserts. Isn't that neat? I just think they're cool watches. It's a pity they're as rare as they are. It'd be nice to be able to see more of them out and about, but you know, it is what it is. It's a cool watch. Maybe I should learn how to use the slide rule. Not that I ever do math that often, though I should. Pity to have a tool and not use it. In terms of being a timekeeper, it's excellent. Okay, well, that's just a fun little thing. Just a fun little thing. 2 flavors of the same basic recipe. Okay, thank you much.